Welcome to the GetRealWealth.com radio show, where wealth means a lot more than just building a second stream of income. Listen and learn how 70% of the millionaires in America used real estate to create a lifestyle that most people only dream about. A lifestyle that includes good health, family, romance, travel, charity, and all the other parts of a balanced life. Now, here is your host, real estate investor and mentor, Steve Davis.
Good afternoon and welcome to the GetRealWealth.com radio show. I am your host, Steve Davis, where as always we're talking about using real estate to build a second stream of income to improve the quality of your lifestyle in every arena, whether it's more romance, more time for fitness, more time for family, more time for travel, more time for charity. Whatever it is you want to do with your life, it is solved with a second stream of income. If you don't spend your second stream of income like you spend your earned income. And what I'm referring to is most people have a tendency to, no matter how much they make, they spend it all. It's the living paycheck to paycheck concept, or the lifestyle creep, as Wikipedia calls it, where you start off, you're making 30, 40, 50 grand a year. You get a raise, you're making 70. You get a promotion, you're making 100. But for some reason, you're still living paycheck to paycheck. And you can't quite figure it out. But you really know, don't you? See, when you got that promotion, you couldn't drive that Hyundai anymore, could you? You had to get that baby Beamer. Then when you got the next promotion or raise, you couldn't drive that Beamer anymore. You had to have the Porsche. And you had to have nicer clothes because you had the Porsche. You had to have nicer watch because you had the Porsche. It's lifestyle creep. And lifestyle creep is a destructor. It destroys many, many lives financially. And that's why 95% of Americans fail to retire at age 65. Only 5% retire wealthy. And the good news is we know what that 5% are doing. And that's what this show is about. They build a second stream of income that equals or surpasses their earned income so that they have more money for fun, travel, and so on. Today we're going to talk about some real estate bad ideas. These could be called the don'ts of real estate. And there's quite a few of them. I'm saying them from the negative point of view, which is the don't, but you've heard me do shows where I talk about do, and I say these are the best practices for real estate investing. But everybody learns differently, and there's a group of you that would prefer if I told you what to do, but there's also a group that likes to hear what not to do, and really that's who today's show is for. But I think everybody can benefit from it because you're just looking at these things from a different point of view. You're looking at it from don't do this, and some of you are going to go, oh yeah, that's right, I remember when he said what to do instead. So that's fine. My email is open. If you've got a question for me, or you've got a idea that you want to know whether it's a good one or not, whether it should be on this list of don'ts or whether it should be on the list of do's, email it to me. It's asksteve@getrealwealth.com. asksteve@getrealwealth.com. These first two are the big killers, and they're odd because they don't seem to have anything to do with real estate, but they really do. And let's start with the first one. The first one is don't be lazy. In real estate investing, it takes a lot of work to get your deals. Once you get them, there's very little to do, even if you're self-managing. In other words, my son kept track of it. He had 10 rent houses in his personal residence. He kept track of it. It was on average 6 hours or less a month. So I guess that's not the average. That's 6 is the is the average. Then one time he had 2 vacancies in 1 month, and that took him like 15 hours. On a normal month, when everything's occupied, it might take you less than an hour. That's why the number is about 6 hours a month. But he made over $5,000 when you add everything together: cash flow, principal pay down, appreciation, and so on. He made over $5,000 a month in profit. Now, how many of you would work an extra 6 hours to make an extra $5,000 a month? Everybody would, hopefully. So the first don't is don't be lazy. Why do people get lazy? Almost always it's they lose sight of the goal. They lose sight of what they're doing this for. Like, I know people that will complain about getting a maintenance call. And as their mentor, I will ask them, hey, how many maintenance calls did you get this month? How many units you have? I got 10 units. How many maintenance calls did you get this month? Well, I got 3. Okay. And you make 5,000. Yes. So 3 maintenance calls divided by 5,000 is what? About $1,700 a call. You got paid $1,700 to take that phone call. Now, how long was that phone call? Well, it was about 5 minutes, and then it took me 5 minutes to reach my contractor, and it took me 5 minutes to write him a check. So for 15 minutes work, you made $1,700. Oh yeah. See, if you lose sight of that, then those phone calls do seem like a pain. You might be partying with your friends and enjoying yourself, and all of a sudden you get an AC out. Who cares? That phone call's worth $1,700 to you. Take a break, put the beer down, and go solve the problem. It's just, you got to keep sight. And when I see people lose sight of what they're doing this for, they get lazy. And suddenly a maintenance call becomes a pain in the rear end. And you say, well, but you've still got to pay for the AC repair. Well, remember, your tenant pays the first $250 deductible. And most AC repairs are right around $250. Now, we're not talking about replacing an AC. You should have done that when you bought it. So it's not going to be replacing an AC. It's going to be a maintenance call. Many times it's just a little device that goes bad on the AC, and I think that's $150. So it doesn't even cost you anything. All right, we'll talk about some more don'ts when we come back from the break here on the GetRealWealth.com radio show. I'm your host, Steve Davis. Email me at asksteve@GetRealWealth.com, asksteve@GetRealWealth.com. You're listening to AM 700 KSEV, the voice of Texas. Thanks for listening. Real estate accounts for more millionaires in America than any other investment vehicle. This second stream of income can truly change your life. More time for travel and romance, more time for family and fitness, more time for whatever you want to do with your life. To find out how to build this second stream of income, attend our free 2-hour introductory workshop on real estate investing. To reserve a seat, visit GetRealWealth.com and click on the free workshop button at the top of the page. That's GetRealWealth.com. Thank you. Welcome back to the GetRealWealth.com radio show. I'm your host, Steve Davis. Please email me any question that you have. Don't worry about the subject matter I'm discussing either. And if you feel like you got a dumb question, send it anyway. You got to remember that I was a health club instructor when I started. I asked every dumb question there was. So there's nothing you can ask that I didn't ask myself. So you will not be treated poorly or like it's a dumb question. Give me a call, 281-558-5738, 281-558-KSEV, or asksteve@getrealwealth.com. Email your question to asksteve@getrealwealth.com. So, number one, don't be lazy. Stay on your goal. Keep focused on why you're doing it. Remember, I preach and preach and preach about your why. Why do you want a second stream of income? More time with the family, more time for romance, more time for travel, more whatever it is. Stay focused on your why, your goal. The next one is stay fit. This is still all part of don't be lazy. Another reason people are lazy is because they're just tired. They don't exercise. And, it's the funniest thing in the world when someone says to me, well, I don't exercise because I'm too tired. No, you're tired because you don't exercise. That's ludicrous concept. Exercise increases your energy level, reduces fat content, increases muscle density. It makes you think better and more effectively. It reduces, I saw this the other day, it blew me away. There's something like 13 cancers that are caused by obesity, directly linked to obesity. There's 18 cancers that are directly reduced. Your chances of getting them are reduced by exercise, including those 13. So there's so many benefits, but what we're talking about primarily now, keep your energy levels up. If you let your energy levels drop, then all you've got enough energy for is going to work. And then you're pooped at home. You're not romancing your spouse. You're not playing with your kids. You're just pooped. Please take 30 minutes 3 times a week. Get that heart rate up. You're going to feel better, look better, higher sex drive, reduce your risk of cancer. Your brain's going to work better, everything. So don't be lazy. Stay fit and stay focused on your goal or your why. Number 2, don't be greedy. And this falls into 4 categories. There's 4 places that people get greedy. The first one happens to be educating themselves. I see people go out there and lose tens of thousands of dollars on single family houses. They lose hundreds, even millions on apartment complexes. And you know why? Because they didn't spend $500, $10,000, $20,000 to learn those businesses. They just went out there. I don't know what the concept is. Oh yeah, it's not rocket science. I'll just trial and error, figure it out myself. One mistake on a single family home, $10,000, $20,000, $30,000 you lost. One mistake on an apartment, $100,000. One mistake on a big apartment, $1 million. Don't get greedy. Educate. On your rehabs, don't get greedy. Do what it takes. I see people all the time do these just enough rehabs, for lack of a better word for it. I call it a slumlord rehab. They use the cheapest faucets, the cheapest appliances. They go to scratch and dent places to get their appliances. It's like, oh boy, you're really rocking it. This goes back to the concept of saving your way to success. You can't do that. It's a waste of your time. See, if you're cheap and you buy cheap appliances, you can bet you're cheaping yourself out too. You can bet you're cheaping your life out too. Cheap people are cheap in every aspect of their life. Don't be greedy. Rehab that thing so you never have any more expenses. Now, I'm exaggerating by saying never. You're always going to have some maintenance costs. But if you want to live like I do, where I don't get maintenance calls, it's because I'm not cheap when I rehab my houses. I use high-quality faucets, high-quality appliances, high-quality ACs, high-quality roofing materials, everything. And I'm not going to the top end. I guess you could say I'm mid-range. But that's what you got to do. You can't cheap yourself out on your rehab, or you defeat the purpose of the rehab, which is to keep the maintenance calls low, keep your tenants happy, and keep the value of the property up. Okay, the next one, this was going to sound funny at first to some of you. Don't be greedy on the purchase price. I see people pass up. I always use the baseball analogy. Every house is a different type of hit. There's a single, a double, a triple, and a home run. The single may be just you pick up 10% equity and $300 a month cash flow. A double may be you pick up $20,000 equity and $300. A triple might be $25,000 a month. I'm sorry, $25,000 in equity and $400 a month cash flow. And then a home run, boom. You knock it out of the park, pick up $50,000 in equity and $500 a month cash flow. Are you going to try to run your entire life off of home runs? You can't, can you? There's just not that many out there. But there's a ton of singles, there's a ton of doubles, there's a few triples, and a few home runs. You need to be prepared to take action on all of them. Get them all in your portfolio. Because if it's a deal, it's a deal. Don't get greedy and lose a deal over negotiating the price. Does that mean I don't negotiate? Absolutely not. I don't make lowball offers, I'll admit that. I always try to be fair as I see it. Sometimes I'm not, and guess what? What happens when I'm not? I don't get the deal. I mean, I've seen people go through, I would have bought all 4 of the houses, and they turn all 4 of them down. I'm like sitting there across the desk wanting to choke them, going, go give me those addresses so I can go buy them. What's the problem? Somebody else already bought them because they were singles and doubles. The next place where people get greedy is the sale of the property. They want the highest price possible. And when I say that, you go, well, doesn't everybody? They do. But I go back to this apartment complex. I think it was a 23 unit. And as soon as I looked at the NOI and the capitalization rate, I knew this was an underpriced apartment complex. So I wrote the offer, closed on it. And I was walking out of the closing, and it was 2 brothers. And I looked at them and I said, you know, and they had given me a lot of information. These were really good people. They told me everything about every tenant. They told me everything about the property and what was wrong with it and what was right with it. They didn't hide anything. And I was grateful to them, and I told them that. And I said, but why did you sell it to me a good $200,000, $300,000 below what you could have gotten if you'd have waited, maybe another 6 months? They looked at me, or one of them looked at me, he looked at his brother, and they both laughed. He goes, Steve, never complain about making a profit. And it took me a while to really understand what they were saying. But they made a profit. They don't have to get every little dime and every little penny out of every deal. They made a profit, a good profit, but they left a little meat on the bone for me. And I've always tried to do that. And I think a lot of you are going to feel better negotiating if you do that as well. But the reason that I did it is because of speed. When I sold that 10 unit, I sold it under market, partly out of ignorance, But it sold, literally, a 10-unit apartment. Now, it sold within a month. Now, that's ludicrous in the multifamily industry. It takes, in the apartment industry, it takes months to market something, months to find prospects, months to close. Because I had the right price, boom, gone in 1 month. And you say, well, you lost $100,000. Okay. I could have waited 6 months or 9 months to sell it. Divide $100,000 by that, that's $10,000 a month. My holding costs were whatever. It was more important for me to get it sold quickly and move that money into the next deal that made me millions than it was to keep it and try to get every single dime out of it. All right, we'll be back with more don'ts after the break here on the GetRealWealth.com radio show. I'm your host, Steve Davis. You're listening to AM 700 KSEV, the voice of Texas. Thanks for listening. Are you tired of losing money in every down market? Did you know that real estate makes money in both the up and down markets? In fact, we make more money in the down market. Hi, this is Steve Davis, host of the GetRealWealth.com radio show. Yes, we are praying for a down market, and you should know why. To find out why, attend our free 2-hour introductory workshop. To reserve a seat, visit GetRealWealth.com and click on the free workshop button at the top of the page. That's GetRealWealth.com. Thank you. Welcome back to the GetRealWealth.com radio show. I'm your host, Steve Davis. Phone lines are open. If you've got a question for me, please give me a call. Use a fake name if you're a little shy or feel like you've got a dumb question. But give me a call at 281-558-5738. That's 281-558-KSEV. Or put anonymous in an email, and I won't use your name. It's asksteve@getrealwealth.com. asksteve@getrealwealth.com. Oh, that reminds me. We are doing a webinar this Thursday evening and Saturday. It's the first time we've done one on a Saturday. It's kind of an experiment to see if people really want it on a Saturday. So if you're interested in finding out about our mentoring at Real Wealth Academy, attend one of those webinars. To register, go to GetRealWealth.com and click on the free workshop at the upper right-hand corner. GetRealWealth.com, free workshop in the upper right-hand corner. And I look forward to talking to you then. Okay, I've got a couple of, oh no, these are not emails for the show. These are very complex. But yeah, keep them coming. I don't mind these intense, here's my life story, what should I do, emails. Just be aware I generally can't answer them on the air. There's just too much personal information. But I will respond. Both of these I'm probably going to call you because it would take me 2 or 3 pages to answer it by email. Or I'll have you call me. We'll work something out. Okay. All right. Phone lines are open, 281-558-KSEV. Let's go directly to the phone lines. Go to Northwest Houston and talk to John. John, how are you today?
I'm doing good. How about yourself?
Excellent. Excellent. How can I help?
I have a few rental homes, and I'm stuck where I have one home that's paid off, and I'm trying to refinance it to get some cash out to get more rental property.
Excellent.
The only thing is that not most banks are willing to lend just because they see, hey, you have rental homes and you have depreciation, you have taxes, you have maintenance.
Right. And they're looking at your tax return and seeing there's not a lot of taxable income.
Yeah, so I need to see if you can recommend me a good lender that'll be a little more friendly towards rental and landlord.
I can. Do me a favor, fire an email to me, and I'll send you 2 contacts, but shop both. Make sure you get a quote from both, but I think they can help you because they're more investor friendly than most banks. What bank were you trying to go through?
I was trying to go through one which quick lending, and then another one was my bank, which is Amity Bank.
Yeah, those big boys don't, as a rule, they don't understand investor type loans. So they are more for owner occupants. They advertise, hey, we love commercial loans, but that's not single family. So yeah, I've got some people that do almost nothing but single family that will be able to help you, John.
Okay. You said send you an email to what?
Yeah, ask Steve at getrealwealth.com. Ask Steve at getrealwealth.com. Any other questions?
No, sir.
All right, John. You're doing the right thing, by the way. I love it. Talk to you later.
All right.
Take care. Okay, phone lines are open, 281-558-5738, 281-558-KSEV, or email me at asksteve@getrealwealth.com. Well, let's get back on this list. We've done number 1, don't be lazy, stay fit, stay on your goal. Number 2, don't be greedy with your education, your rehabs, your purchase price, or your sale price. And number 3, don't be arrogant. There's 2 sides to this, that arrogance destroys you as a business person. It's kind of like people don't like you. And you say, well, I don't care if people like me. I just want to do business. People like to do business with people they like. I don't know what you're thinking. If you're a jerk, yeah, they'll do business with you to make money, but as soon as they have an opportunity to go with a nice guy that'll make them the same amount of money, guess what they're going to do? Don't be arrogant. Don't act like a big shot because you got 3 or 4 rent properties, or even 3,000 or 4,000 rent properties. Be humble and kind. The next part of arrogance is be humble, which I just mentioned, and get educated before you invest. Another form of arrogance that kills people is the know-it-all concept. Oh, I don't need any of these companies that teach real estate investing. I'll just learn it on my own. Goes back to greedy, goes back to laziness, and goes back to greed, laziness, and arrogance. Those are the 3 killers. And that's why they're number 1, 2, and 3. Okay? Number 4, do not trial and error it, whether it's single family or apartments. You can lose, a trial and error. When you make an error in single family, it can cost you $10,000, $20,000, $30,000. When you make an error in apartments, it can cost you $100,000 or $1 million. So don't trial and error it. Invest in yourself. Ask for help. Now, as a conservative, I'm talking to a station that mostly caters to conservatives. What's the problem with this one? Conservatives are very responsible people. Conservatives take care of themselves. It seems to me, on my past experience, that conservatives are less likely to ask for help. They want to do it on their own. They want to be responsible. And that's admirable to a point. Not when it's something like real estate investing. Ask for help. Get out there, find a group to join, take a course, and then invest. Do not trial and error it. Here's one of the ways that will benefit you. Have you ever touched the eye of a stove that was on? Sure, most people have. Do you put your hand back near that? You don't, do you? It's set in your brain. That hurt. I don't want to do that again. See, if you trial and error it, and go out and do your first real estate deal wrong, guess what you're going to be scared to do? Your second deal. You burnt your hand on the first one, so you don't want to do the second one. It is so important to give yourself permission to succeed by making sure that you know the best practices and the complete business model for whichever arena you're going into, whether it's single family or apartments. Know the rules. Know the best practices. Know the business model. Do not trial and error it. Number 5. This one's going to seem like a no-brainer, but it's not. Don't pay too much. It is very hard to recover from a piece of real estate that you paid too much for. And you say, well, that's hard to do. Don't the banks appraise it and keep you from paying too much and so on? They're there and they help you. But I still see people do it. Because where they should have been paying 80% of the after repaired value, they paid 100% of the after repaired value. Guess what that is? Paying too much. We'll come back to this in just a moment. Let's go to Conroe on the phone lines and talk to Phil. Phil, thanks a lot for calling in. How are you today?
Staying dry, Steve. How about yourself?
No, I got a little wet, so I'm dry now, though.
Well, good. Hey, well, thanks for taking my call. And I love listening to your show. I have not been to one of your seminars, but I hope to come to it very soon. But you always provide some good, solid advice, and I call it grandma logic. It just makes sense. So,
thanks.
So here's my question. I have 4 rental properties. I unfortunately got laid off last month due to the virus. So I have four rental properties plus my primary home. Unfortunately, all 4 of my rental properties currently are vacant. So I have like no income coming in. So I was in the process of either going to refi my primary home, take some cash out to either do standby live-in money, a kind of emergency, or I was going to refi some of the rental property homes and do the same thing. But again, the primary goal would be to purchase another rental home property. But the real reason would be to, just have some standby cash to live on until I get my primary job back. So I was going to ask, what would you do? What would you do in this situation? But the same thing, is there any tax implications refining my personal home versus a rental property?
No, both of them are going to be tax-free because they're loans. So there's no tax consequences. Whenever, like when we refinance these apartment complexes and we pull out $1 million, we don't owe any taxes on that because it's a loan. Same thing for you. The concern is going to be getting a loan on either the home or the rent properties without a job. So when I sit here listening to this story, the first thing I want to know is, why aren't those 4 units occupied? What condition are they in?
Yeah, it was several. I just finished a remodel on one of my properties, so it's primed and ready to go. So it's been vacant for a few months, and I do a lot of my own work. The other property got flooded, so in the process of doing another remodel on it. And another property, a tenant just moved out because she lost her job. So,
oh my gosh, yeah. COVID is wreaking havoc on people's lives. It's unbelievable.
Yep.
There's 2 strategies that I can think of. One would be to sell 2 of them, take the money from that, give yourself a cushion like you were talking about, and then take the other money, rehab the other 2 properties, get them occupied, Phil. That's the problem. If all 4 of those were occupied right now, it's quite possible that you could find a private lender that would do something with you. But if he looks at you, Phil, and goes, dude, you got 4 rent houses. You didn't lease them. He's not going to want to loan you money. So that's the first option would be to sell 1 of them, if that would give you enough money to do all that. The second option would be sell 2 of them. And then with whatever money's left over, go start. As soon as you get your job back, take that money and get those 2 units back in your portfolio. That would be what I would do.
I was going to take out, sell one of the properties, and we were actually supposed to close on it last month. It was a corporate buyer, and I had the house in Tomball, and they backed out just due to the COVID. They said, "Hey, we're not purchasing any properties right now." So
yeah, those are commercial.
I was hoping to pull out about $100K of that house, and I was actually going to join your program and then take that $100K and invest in some multifamily, be more of a minority partner in one of your multifamily deals. But obviously, that's not happening right now.
Yeah, I still think if it were me, I'd get 2 of those houses on the market immediately, and whichever one sells first, take the other one back off the market if it gives you enough money to do what we described.
Mm-hmm. No,
get 2 of them on the market so that one of them sells. In other words, give yourself twice as much opportunity to sell one. Does that make sense?
No, it does. Correct.
Okay.
Yeah, I know right now, I mean, for your listeners, it's a total buyer's market right now. So if you got listeners with cash in their hand, it's a great opportunity to purchase right now.
You are absolutely right, and it's going to get a little bit worse before it gets better, that's for sure.
Correct. Well, again, thank you for the grandma logic. That makes sense, and you provide some great sound advice. I really appreciate it.
All right, thank you, Phil, and thank you for the kind words.
You
Take
bet.
care.
Bye-bye.
Okay, we're coming up on the final segment of the show, so I'm going to leave the phone lines closed for the last, because I've got 5 more to race through, and one of them is going to be interesting because of Phil's call. All right, we'll talk more after the break here on the GetRealWealth.com radio show. You're listening to AM 700, the voice of Texas. Thanks for listening. Do you dream of a better life for you and your family? Do you want more time with your family? Would you like to travel more? Would you like to be less dependent on a job for your income? The solution is simple. Build a second stream of income. We can show you how. We are offering a free 2-hour introductory workshop on how to use real estate to build a second stream of income for you and your family. To reserve a seat, visit GetRealWealth.com and click on the free workshop button at the top of the page. That's GetRealWealth.com. Thank you. Welcome back to the GetRealWealth.com radio show. I'm your host, Steve Davis. Okay, I've got one email I'm going to answer right now. The rest of you, I'm going to email you afterwards, but this is from a good friend of the show, Diane, who's asking about the repair deductible in the lease. And she's talking about, it seems to me like the AC is the landlord's responsibility unless the tenant has not changed the filter or somehow done something to break it. Do you always charge the deductible even if the issue is not caused by the tenant? The answer is yes, I always charge the deductible. I have 2 preventative things in my leases, and that is $50 trip charge. In other words, if you call me to change a light bulb, I'll be happy to. It's going to cost you $50. So needless to say, I don't get the dumb come fix my toilet phone calls. That eliminates almost all dumb phone calls. The second one is $250 deductible, whether it's an AC, whether it's leaky roof, whether it's anything, because they're using it. You know, you say, well, they didn't do anything. No, they were using it. So if it breaks while they're using it, and that's just the first $250. If the AC goes out and it's $3,000, they only pay $250. So most of it is the landlord's responsibility. But those, that's few and far between. So yes, Diane, I think you're a member of Real Wealth Academy. So that lease that's online for you includes the areas for you to put that in the lease. All right. Thank you, Diane. I will reply to you as well by email. Okay, let's get back to this list and get these last 5 out in the last segment. We just left don't pay too much. Very hard to recover from that. 2, don't buy anything that's not producing positive cash flow. Do not do what these idiots, and I'm sorry to be so brutal, but anybody that even suggests to me to buy a property that loses money is out of their mind. That comes right off of your debt to income ratio and limits you to the amount of real estate that you can buy. Period. You will never reach an impressive financial goal if you're buying negative cash flow. But if you buy cash flow, positive cash flow, you can continue to buy and buy some more and buy some more. This idea of I want to lose money to lower my taxes, dumb as a rock. Dumb as a rock. Spend 10% of your time reducing your taxes and 90% of your time making more money. Making more money. I want to pay $1 million. I want to pay $2 million in 1 year to taxes. Why? Because that means I made 4 or 5 or 6 million. Who cares? Do not ever buy anything for a tax reduction. Doesn't even make sense. 7, and this kind of goes with the previous caller, don't do your own repairs. Sorry. Everybody's going, what? But I can save so much money. You don't save anything. I've seen it over and over and over again. We just saw 4 vacant units. One of them needs repairs. He's doing the repairs himself. Don't do that. When you get your loan, the loan should include the proceeds for the repairs. Those repairs should be done by a professional contractor starting the day after you close. You close on Monday, that contractor should be there Tuesday morning tearing up the place and beginning repairs. And it should be done about $7,000 a week. If it's a $21,000 rehab, that's 3 weeks. If it's $35,000 rehab, that's 5 weeks. If you got a great contractor, many contractors that are great can get $10,000 worth of the work done a week. So do not do your own repairs, because over and over I see vacant units for months at a time because the person has a full-time job and they're trying to do the repairs. BS. Totally wrong idea. Get that thing done in 2 to 3 weeks and get it cash flowing the 4th week. Okay, this next one I wrote a harsh word on, so I'll change it. Don't harm your realtors. Don't harm your realtors. And what I'm referring to is I've literally bought every set of books and tapes that I've ever seen on real estate investing. And there were probably 6 or 7 of them that said things like this. Wait till the 2 days before closing. Tell your realtor you're $2,000 shy of the down payment. Get them to give you $2,000 of their commission or the deal won't close. That is awful. It's 1, it's a lie, and 2, it's awful. Get your realtors paid. Let them have their 3% or 6%. Bend over backwards making sure they do get their 3% or 6%. And what will they do for you? They'll bring you more deals. That is one of your bloodlines, your realtors. Number 9 is don't harm your wholesalers. Don't do it. If someone brings you a good deal, realtor or wholesaler, treat them like gold. Because when you do find a competent realtor or you do find a competent wholesaler, that's a team member for life. If you harm them, pull some stupid stunt like I described, and rip them off, you lose them. Remember this, if somebody can find you 1 good deal, they can find you 9 more, maybe 10 more, maybe 20 more. Take care of your realtors and wholesalers. And then number 10, don't give up. When I see people fail, that's the number 1 cause. They gave up. Because everything else is not failure. If they get beat up on their first deal, it's not failure unless you give up. So go back to number 1, stay on your goal and your why. And number 10, never give up. All right, I really appreciate you all listening today. Have a great rest of your day, and we'll talk more tomorrow.
This has been the GetRealWealth.com radio show. Please remember that this show is for entertainment purposes only and should not be construed as legal, tax, or investing advice. Always get a professional opinion before making any investment decision. To find out about the mentoring and consulting at Real Wealth Academy, visit GetRealWealth.com and attend one of our free introductory workshops on real estate investing. That's GetRealWealth.com. Thanks for listening and have a great rest of your day.